Hello, welcome back everybody. Let's have a look at Bitcoin then. So just very briefly, we have just in these last few hours had a bit of a tumble and we've broken down beneath the descending trend. This descending trend being this big red line that's been all the way back since June. This is what we were stuck under, rejected every single time we came close to it, and the first time we broke above it was on this huge, massive $3,000 move. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so I'm not thinking exactly perfectly straight. But yeah, the first time we broke above it was on this huge, massive move. But interestingly enough, we closed beneath it on that day. So this big wick was quite telling, showing that a lot of this money was FOMO and was dumped into. And I think a lot of this was people getting too excited that this move would continue, and they've been dumped on every single time they've bought it, to the point that we basically found support every time we came down on the descending trend. We found supports on it. Nothing really to write home about. Every time we bounced from it, the bounces were pathetic, really. Pretty much lower highs and lower lows every single time. And one of the things I always would say is that the more times we test a support, if we're coming down to test a support over and over and over and over and over again, it's more than likely going to break it eventually. There's no reason, especially when this trend is descending and the support line is descending, that we're suddenly going to launch from it. The likelihood is we will break down beneath it. Now, there's a couple of main reasons for this. I mean, if this was an uptrend and a support, there'd be more possibility that we would launch from it. If it was just completely horizontal, I would say it's probably more likely to break to the down, but certainly if it's down sloping like this, it's probably going to break to the down, and it's giving all these moving averages opportunities to cross beneath each other, and we're getting a variety of different crosses. They all have bearish intention, but the main one which will be coming if we carry on this way will be the death cross, which is the 50 EMA over the 200 EMA. Now that's a fair way away at the moment. We need to really come down a little bit further than that, but if we keep this price action where it is right now, even if we were to go horizontal from here, just strictly sideways, then we will get a death cross eventually, because we're beneath the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA is here and it's already sloping down, so we will get that death cross. And it will take a little while, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks or so, if we stayed in this area. Bitcoin doesn't like to stay in any area for any long period of time, but if we stay in this area and go further down, then we will eventually get that death cross. We came close to that death cross here, so you see this 50 EMA, this green line here, this big fat green line, and that was on its way to have a death cross, which would have happened probably around this area here, and towards the sort of end of November or so. Sorry, not the end of November, around the beginning of November. We would have had that death cross, but it was completely avoided by this huge, massive move. Now, the death cross could still be incoming, and that would certainly mean about we could talk 10 to perhaps as much as 35 or even more % further down, and that would bring us into the 6,000s or lower, which has been my target this whole time. There's been a few reasons for that. I'll go on to the weekly and I'll show you one of the main reasons, which is that we had this cross here in the Ichimoku cloud. That is on a weekly a really good way of spotting a long-term continuation of a move, and this continuation is certainly a downwards move. Doesn't mean that it's going to go to a certain level, it just means it's going to continue. So this could continue ever so slowly down to 6,000, it could continue slowly or a bit faster, for instance, all the way down to where we started, which I find very unlikely. I think 6,000s was probably a more suitable area for Bitcoin to end up at. But at the moment, we're still needing to close this candle on the daily chart, and the candle has quite a significant bouncy wick there, so it's looking okay, but we're underneath the trend, so it does look bearish. And again, we're underneath all major moving averages. We have a look at the MACD. The MACD has almost gone completely into bearish territory, so it looks like we will have a continuation of this move down. The move hasn't been as aggressive as I thought it would be. I thought we might be looking at close to a 10% move, and this one from top to bottom, this wick is not 10%, it's over 5, so that's a rough figure there. Yeah, it's just over 5% move. So I still believe we've got further to go on this. and if we close this wick underneath this descending trend, we will have continuation. Whether you want to short it now, or if you shorted it, when I shorted it around this period here on this candle here, because I saw that we were being rejected from the 242 and supported on the descending trend, and like I say, if we're being rejected from this level here, it's more than likely going to go further down than it would go to the up. So I have had a nice little short here with a nice little bit of profit, but not too much, because I don't like to put too much into to margin trading, to be honest. Mainly just for a hobby, if anything. I am more of a long-term hodler and investor than I am a trader, but I do obviously like to trade when I feel the opportunity arises, and this looked like a good opportunity for a short to me. I am going to hold on to this short, and I will close it at very, very, very basic, almost have my stop loss pretty much at a break even. I could close it now for some profit, but I do expect it to continue, so I do have my stop loss at pretty much about $1 profit. Just like I say, this it's not the greatest idea, but I do expect this to continue. Now, will it pick up momentum? Will it fall faster? Is it going to continue this downtrend, or is it going to have a decent bounce back above this? And if it does, will it be similar to this one? Now, that is a possibility, which is why I do have a stop loss on it. The last time we broke down beneath the 242, that very next day, we rocketed over $3,000 to the up. So I am obviously quite mindful of that. There was no reason to look at this chart to say that we would be doing anything other than finding a decent bounce. When this happened, if you look back at my videos, I did think that this bounce would happen, but only to around about 7,700. So that is the area there where the cursor is there. That's where I thought it would go to, and then continue with its downtrend. Completely underestimated that, but again, there was nothing to suggest that this would happen. I thought there'd be a bounce. I thought it would be rejected at this level. I had no idea it was going to go all the way up. So again, we are beneath the 242. Last time we did that, we found our way shooting right back up again. That is a possibility, but I think it's more likely to make a slow and steady continuation of this move down, maybe to its previous low here around 7,400, before we find a bounce, maybe even break beneath that. I think overall Bitcoin is going to see not $6,000 on the dot, but in that 6,000s area before we find a true reversal of this downwards trend, which we are clearly still in a descending downwards trend. We might have broken out and above of this descending trend, but we are still descending. So it is my opinion that we've probably got another $1,000 or more to go to the down before we even begin to recover from this one. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a nice evening, and take it easy.